Hi lovely people, it's Candy here. Today I'm going to bring you a VR response to Amber over at Lavender Moon, the lovely Amber, and also to Ginger Faye. Now Amber recently had Ginger Faye on and they did a live about a mediumship tarot spread. It really touched me and I wanted to do a VR response about my experience of the tarot being used to connect with loved ones that have passed, with ancestors, and my experience of hearing voices from the other side and how that links into my tarot practice today. Now, if you'd have told me a few years ago that I would be talking about stuff like this, I would never have believed you, but life is a funny old thing and the experiences I've had have been really profound and I just would like to share them. So thank you first of all to Ginger Faye for the brilliant spread, which I am also going to share. I'll also put all the links to the lives as well. Thank you to Amber for her fantastic channel. Put links to it all below. Now, my very first experience ever of hearing voices from the other side or a connection to somebody that had passed was not long after Tilly was diagnosed with Smith-Magenis syndrome. She'd been diagnosed a few months after that. My dad died from cancer, and so it was a double whammy. I'd got the shock of Tilly's diagnosis, then looking after my dad at home with cancer, then my dad dying, and it was just a huge one thing after another. It felt like the rug had been pulled from underneath me. And then I fell into a reactive depression. I was diagnosed with a reactive depression to all of those circumstances. And I ended up in therapy. And in the first session of therapy, the therapist taught me how to do some belly chanting and meditation. And it's the first time I'd ever done anything like that. And she then took me on a guided meditation, and within that meditation I had a really profound experience, the first one ever. I found myself on a beach somewhere safe and a figure coming towards me on the beach, and I knew immediately who that figure was because I'd seen that figure waiting on the beach so many times. My dad had actually drowned when he was a young boy. He drowned playing in the canals. He couldn't swim. He never swam his whole life, and he was dragged out of the canal by a stranger who nobody knew. The stranger realised my dad wasn't breathing and managed to physically pump the water out of his lungs and get dad breathing again, and then just walked off. My dad, over his lifetime, had explained it that this figure just appeared and then disappeared, and my dad always thought that it was some sort of guardian angel. Nobody in the local neighbourhood knew who this person was, and my dad had actually died and then come back again, and he never got over his fear of the water after that. He never swam. So when we were swimming in the sea on holidays, my dad would literally patrol the beach, watching us, making sure we were safe, keeping an eye on us. So when I saw the figure coming up the beach towards me, it's just a figure that I recognised straight away. I knew it was my dad, and in his hands he was holding a giant piece of crystal. Now, at the time I didn't know what crystal it was. When I came out of the meditation, which I did sobbing, I talked to the therapist about what I'd seen, and she said that's rose quartz, and that signifies unconditional love. So of course that would be what my dad was carrying. So I immediately went out and bought myself a big chunk of rose quartz. I tried to find the shape closest to what I saw in my meditation, and it profoundly affected me. I really felt within that meditation the presence of my dad. I do have an absolute love of rose quartz because of that. So that was my first experience. It was within meditation and it was a vision. But then very quickly after that, I started to get repeating dreams. I'd never had anything like visitation dreams before, but this is clearly what was happening. Now, at the time, I was in a very abusive relationship, but still completely blind to the narcissistic abuse I was within. And my dad started to visit me in dreams, and it was the same repeating dream. Within the dream there would be lots of warnings, and it would always end the same way, with my dad taking me to this house quite a few miles from where I live. I knew the house, and making me look through the window at this scene of betrayal in front of me. And it was a dream that would come once a month, and every time I had the dream, I literally couldn't talk to the people that were in the dream that I was living with at the time, because I was so upset. The dream was so real, and I used to be berated for, I can't believe you're not speaking to me because of a dream you had. Who does that? And I used to say to the people involved, look, just give me a bit of space. I don't know what it is about this dream. I just just give me a day to get myself back in order. Give me a bit of space, and it'll be fine in a day or two. That happened on a repeat for about a year, until my world imploded, and everything that I'd been warned of in the dreams turned out to be true. Every minute detail, every person shown to me in the dreams, every unbelievable, unexpected, soul-crushing betrayal was true. The cast of characters was true, and the location, the house, that very house in the dream, and everything that I saw within the house, it all turned out to be true. Facts, people, tiny details, and the house itself. Looking back, I can't believe that the people berating me for being thrown by this repeating dream didn't crack under the pressure and the shock of me being told their deepest secrets in clear, crystal visions. And good on my dad. He always warned me. He said, get out, this is what's happening. And he was spot on. My dad loved me. My dad always had my back. So we fast forward some years, and I'm now no contact with my family. I've had to put up boundaries. If anybody has ever gone no contact with their family, they know that that's not an easy thing to do. If you're soft-hearted and your default is just to love people and forgive people and keep trying to make things better, you will know that going no contact is like it's like a dagger that you put into your own heart. I have got stronger over the years, but it has taken years and years to get to a point that I could just function with the hurt that was left. So over those years, trying to go through all of that and come to terms with that, I've missed my dad desperately. And then I get into tarot. I still get the occasional dream from my dad, not as many as before, because the warnings aren't needed anymore, so all those warning dreams stop. Now, I bought my first Rider-Waite deck. I bought this one, the original Rider-Waite, and was slightly disappointed. I thought it was the only available Rider-Waite at the time. At the time, I didn't realise that that there were lots and lots of different variations of this deck, and I just got this one because it was the one that my local metaphysical shop had. After I'd bought it, I then realised I could have chosen from so many different versions. And this one isn't one that I would have picked. But oh my goodness, I am so pleased that I did go and get it, even though the printing is incredibly muddy. Even though some of these cards, you can't work out any of the details. And the reason I am so thrilled about it is because my dad's voice came through this. Now, I'd been studying with it. I'd done a few readings with it, and it was in my tarot room. and I was sitting in my art studio, and I suddenly felt my dad's energy. It's all I can describe. And I had rose quartz come into my mind, just a big picture of rose quartz, and just in the back of my head, that voice saying, let's chat, let's chat. And I just stopped and thought, okay. And just a little whisper, go and get your deck, go and get your Rider-Waite deck. I ran so fast through the house to grab this deck, and the reading that I got from it was absolutely beautiful. I was feeling really alone and really down and really terribly sad about the way things had panned out with my family, and I did a reading. I just said, okay, Dad, tell me how you feel about stuff. How do you feel? Do you understand why I went no contact? This is a sketchbook that I started doing for my dad, and I put my reading in here. How do you feel about me going no contact? Swords, woman blindfolded. And from that I got that there was, you know, you were really blindsided and there were certain options and you just had to pick one. And how do you feel about it, Dad? And I got the 3 of Swords and the 5 of Cups, and I knew that my dad would be so sorry about it. And then I got I said, but do you understand, Dad, why I had to do it, why I had to go no contact? And I got the Devil and the Empress reversed, and then the 4 of Swords, and it just really struck home to me that my dad saw it, he knew it. There was real conflict and there was real nastiness going on in the house. The Empress reversed and also the Queen of Swords reversed is my narcissistic mother card. And then I got the 4 of Swords. You needed to rest, and I certainly did. I'd got to the point where one more attack and I would have broken. The stress from it had put me into hospital with seizures. I was having MRI scans for brain tumours because I was having up to 8 seizures a day. In the end, they just decided it was stress. So when I got that rest card, I just knew that he understood. It was going to kill me, the stress of running around trying to keep evil people happy. What's the way forward? What will be the way forward for me, Dad? And I got the 3 of Pentacles and the 10 of Cups and the Queen of Swords. So to just to keep working on things, work with your little team that you've got now, build yourself a happy home and be your own queen. So that was the very first reading I ever did with the tarot, and it left me sobbing and completely certain that that was my dad. I've never ever pulled this deck demanding a conversation. I only ever come to this deck when I hear that prompting, or when I get visions of rose quartz, or when I hear that whisper of get your deck and we need to have a chat. My stance of talking to people who have passed is let people rest in peace, but if there is a whisper to chat or a pull to it, I will listen to that now. Now I've done a few more readings in my with this deck with my dad, and every single time the 5 of Cups comes out, sorrow, my dad would have been completely devastated with the way that people acted after he died, and the lack of support and love and the viciousness that our unit turned into. And I've often had readings where he said, I've got you on this. I've got you. This sketchbook is a sketchbook that I've done just for my dad, with my readings for my dad in here. These are also pages to do with my dad. So the 5 of Cups has always come out. It's either come out as an underlying energy, it's actually come out in the reading, or it's fallen out at some point in the reading, but I've never done a reading for my dad without the Five of Cups coming out. And that brings me to the mediumship spread that Ginger Faye did on Amber's live. And I want to show you the cards that I pulled to show you that I think there is something in this. I do not think there is imagination in this. I do think that the tarot can be a way of speaking to past love, because it's presented me with those opportunities. So I joined the live late. They were on question 3, position 3 by the time I joined the live. So I quickly retracked through, realised it was a mediumship spread, and immediately got the go and get your deck, we need to chat. So I literally charged through the house, grabbed my Rider-Waite. The first card position, who are you? Who is with me? Who's with me? Now, because I'd picked up this Rider-Waite deck, I was expecting it to be my dad coming through, and I pulled for who is with me, this card. Now, I have been berating my dad lately in our conversations about the fact that he left me to keep going back to a shop that we owned in Birmingham. We lived in the Welsh borders, but we still had a shop in Birmingham, and my dad would spend the week at the shop and then come back. And I've often thought since, because he always throws me either the Queen of Swords reversed or the Empress reversed whenever we're talking about my mom, I thought he knew what she was like. Why didn't he change his lifestyle so that he could be at home more? Because the brunt of that fell on my shoulders. So me and my dad have fallen out more than we've ever fallen out in the last year. And we've been having this ongoing conversation about the fact that I felt even a bit abandoned by him looking back. So when I got this card, it's going on a journey, it's leaving, it's going away, but it's somebody trying to steer the ship, and it just really tied in with some of the conversations we've been having. He still had my back. There was a little figure in here. He was trying to bring in money. He was trying to steer the journey, but it did mean he had to go away, but he still had my back. The second position is, what is your personality, or what energy do you carry? And I pulled the Sun card, and I knew immediately that yes, this definitely was my dad. He was gentle, he was sunny. My mother would go into screaming fits at us. Looking back now as a mother myself, I can't imagine what the people-pleasing child in me ever deserved a screaming fit at, but she would, and we would get threats of, you wait till your father's home, you wait till your father's home. And he would walk in and just open the door and he'd say hi. He would never ever tell us off again. He knew what we were dealing with. He was the sunshine coming through the door, even when he was being used as a threat. Position 3 was, what did you love to do? Now, what hobbies or interests did you have? Now, my dad was just a family man through and through. He just wanted to make the family happy and keep us all happy. And I pulled out the King of Swords. Now, considering that for my mom, every time I've ever used this tarot deck to talk to my dad about mom, it's either been the Empress reversed or the Queen of Swords reversed every time. So to get the King of Swords, the King of Swords sits with the Queen of Swords, even if the Queen of Swords is reversed. But I had 2 cards fly out for this position. And I had the Ten of Swords come out, and it made me realise that this is what Dad did. He always finished arguments. My dad was like the dam that would stop the abuse and the attacks getting through. I didn't realise how much until he was gone, and then I had tidal waves of it coming my way. So what did he love to do? He loved to protect me. He loved to be the family man, share a memory with me. One to three cards for this one. Share a memory. I had 3 cards fly out. The times that me and my dad spent together, the only times really that it was just the 2 of us. Every week my dad and me would go to our local auction house. In the rest of the week it was a car auction. On Thursdays it was a house clearance auction, like rooms and rooms of boxes of just people's clear outs. And Sundays me and my dad would do car boots together. We both had that same collecting gene, that upcycling gene. We were both the same. I still feel it now, and I do sometimes. If I do a car boot, I say, come on dad, I need this, find it for me, and in the next style I'll find it. Me and my dad would always do treasure hunting together. We'd do the car boots, and we'd do this Thursday auction every week, just the 2 of us, and we loved it. It was the one place that me and my dad would sit together. We'd laugh, we'd have burgers there, and we'd just have a proper Thursday night out, looking through boxes of junk, bidding on things. He taught me how to bid at auctions. He got to a point that by the age of about 12 he said, I just can't leave you because you're bidding on stuff. The auctioneers knew us both by name. I never needed to show a number if I won something in a bid. He just knew who we were. Oh, I got pulled 3 cards. I pulled this one, which just reminded me of the 2 of us within crowds at the auctions, just bidding for what we want. And then I got this, which again I thought, oh my gosh, yes, we're at the auctions, all these boxes of things to choose from, and a crowd behind us trying to get in. And then this one, paying for it. And I just thought, this is the auction, this is me at the auction house. And then while I was listening to the live, waiting for the 5th position spread to be given, 2 cards flew out. I was waiting for the 5 of Cups to come out, because like I said, I've never done a reading with my dad without this. For me, that was further confirmation. It just fell out, so I put it to one side, carried on shuffling while I was listening, and another card flew out, and I got the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is my energy card for the year, because I've kind of lost myself in the heartache of all of this no contact for the last couple of years, and I've taken it out on myself. I have lost my fitness, I have lost my joy of life, really. I've really let it get to me, and the Queen of Wands card has come out so much that I realised, although I'm in a Hanged Man year, the Queen of Wands is my energy card for the year, because I'm trying to get back to my Queen of Wands energy, and it's come out again and again and again and again. So it didn't surprise me that these 2 cards came out. It's a little push for my dad to keep going, just to, come on, you've got this, get to your Queen of Wands energy. So those cards I put to one side. And then position 5, do you have a message for me? 1 to 3 cards. I had 3 cards come out. The first card that flew out was the Hermit. And I've said that at this year, my Hanged Man year, spending time with myself, trying to work on myself, trying to get back to the Queen of Wands energy. That does mean using meditation. It means developing my spiritual life. It means working on my fitness. It means getting my self-esteem back. So there's a lot of inner work this year. Then I pulled another one, and I had a card fly out, but I wasn't sure whether it had flown out or whether it had fallen, and it was the Star card. So I put it back in and thought, well, if that was the card, it will come out again, and carried on shuffling and shuffling, shuffling, and it flew out again. The Star card came out twice. Of course, healing, it's a card of hope, a card of keep going, sit with yourself, you've got this, you need to heal. And then I wanted a 3rd card. Again, I wasn't sure whether the card that flew out had dropped or whether it had flown out. So I put it back in. It was the Chariot card. Again, because I like to be sure that it's the card meant for me, and I wasn't quite sure whether I dropped it or not. So I put it back in, carried on shuffling. Another card definitely flew out. It was the Chariot again. So both of these cards came out twice. And it just means like keep your hands on the wheel. You're in the driving seat now. You can do this. You're moving forwards. You've got direction to heal. You might need to be a one-man band at the minute doing it, but you've got this. So it was a message about healing. All of those messages, the fact I'd got flyers that I put back in and they came out twice, the fact that I've got this card again, the meanings behind this one, and then the underlying energy card as well, which was the Emperor, all signified for me that tarot is a really real, significant tool for things like mediumship spreads. The Emperor is actually my birth card, and I really struggled when I realised that my birth card was the Emperor. All the last few years I've struggled with anything to do with male energy, because there's been so much hurt brought to me through male energy. And then I realised that exactly what the divine masculine means. It's energy within me. And of course, my birth card would be the Emperor. I'm building my own empire now. So it just really struck home to me that my birth card came out as the underlying energy. These two cards together, really, really significant for me. That card really significant for my dad's readings. Two cards put back into the deck coming out again, one after the other. Really significant. So that's it, guys. That's the mediumship spread that Ginger Faye shared on Amber's live. I will put links or anything I've got to that. Also Ginger Faye's Facebook group I'll put a link for, which is called The Hidden Hollow. Do go check it out if this interests you at all, because she's fantastic. I just wanted to share that because I wanted to say to not ignore any whispers that certain decks bring you, that cards can open portals to different realms. I do believe that. The experiences I've had and the visions that I've been given and the whispers in my ear could easily have been ignored, written off as just my imaginings. But I would have missed out on some pretty important conversations with my dad, even though he's gone. And I would have missed out on all the support that he's still trying to offer. So mediumship spreads, really important, have been really impacting in my life and have been a massive source of comfort for me in what has been a really difficult decade of my life. So yeah, guys, mediumship spreads. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Ginger Faye. I was really moved after the live. I was really moved with the spread that I had. And I really appreciate a firm spread to use. So thanks, guys. I hope you find that interesting. I know this topic isn't going to be for everybody, and I know that it might actually divide people on what they think about this topic, but all I can do is bring to you and share the experiences that I've had that have been wonderful and comforting, and backed up with things playing out in reality, tangible events happening in reality that link directly to both dreams and tarot spreads. So the power of tarot, it never ceases to amaze me. I hope you enjoyed that, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.